I swear I get nervous every time I hit that go live button. That's something that never changes. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Video Marketing Show. I am Amanda Robinson. I am the digital gal, and I am really excited that you are here catching this on the replay right this second. Today's topic, it's kind of a fun one. I started this thinking, okay, I have a couple little stories that I can tell, and other people can jump in and they can share their stories. But as I started writing out my little list of all the things that can go wrong while doing live video, I have, you know me, I put my list of show notes, I write them on a giant Post-it note and like one of those giant wall ones, and then I stick it to my light box so I can see my list. It's a long list. I got a lot. I have a lot of flubs to talk about, but it's not about me. It's about you. So, if you have never tried live video before, you don't have a laundry list of these flubs, and let me just assure you, it is okay. Things are going to go wrong when you go live. It's just inevitable. It's just par for the course. And that's all right. So, we're going to talk about some of those things that could go wrong. This is not meant to scare you off. This is meant to give you some encouragement that it happens and it's okay. So, I definitely want to hear your stories. And I can see a bunch of folks are jumping on live right now. Welcome. Feel free to drop in the comments where you're tuning in from. I'm fully expecting to see Justin here. He's usually here from over on YouTube. Evie usually makes a little stop by from Facebook with the Amanda. So drop those comments in. In the meantime, let's get this party started. This broadcast is brought to you by Restream. That's what I'm using right now. I'm inside the Restream studio, and that's how I get to do all these really cool features and functions that you don't have to be a professional live streamer to use. It's so simple. So let's get this party started. We're already starting off strong. I can see we have a user tuning in from Florida, and we've got Keith from Kissimmee, Florida. Wonderful. I'm chilling out in gorgeous, beautiful Victoria, British Columbia, Canada. Still waiting for the borders to open up. I am first round vaccinated now. I feel like I'm like one step closer. And then hopefully by summer, I'll have my second one. Hopefully by summer, the borders will be open. And hopefully by summer, I will be taking this show on the road and broadcasting kind of like I did back in 2019, where I was live from pretty much anywhere and everywhere, from campsites to Airbnbs to conferences to anywhere. So that is where I get this like little list, this little list, this big list of all the different types of flubs and issues and problems that you can run into while you're live streaming. I want to hear your stories. As we're going through this, drop your story in the comment. Let me know what has gone wrong for you while you have been live streaming. So this is basically like a giant story time, huge story time. And I'm just going to throw out some stories for you. Again, don't get scared off. These things are going to happen. They really do happen. All right. So let's start it off with the one that I'm most classically known for. That's the most embarrassing one of my little career. Like prepping myself, take a good swig of coffee before I get it. And just on cue. Look, didn't I tell you? Didn't I tell you? Evie's in the house. Hi, Evie. I'm so glad that you're here. Evie, I'm fully expecting you to share some of your stories on this. Yeah. What's gone wrong for you while you've been live streaming? Anything from little things to big things and everything in between. Okay. So the one that I get hassled about the absolute most is that I like to play with technology. I like to try and break things. And I like to put them through a lot of stress tests and try a lot of different things. But sometimes that works out in my favor. And that's how I have acquired and accumulated my little live streaming studio, all the little toys and bells and whistles. Oh, I can't lift this one high enough to show you. Here we go. Like all little bells and whistles and toys and things that I play with and use. And when something works in your mind, it works in one scenario, sometimes it doesn't always work in every scenario. So I remember this was a couple years ago. I was back in Toronto at the time, and I had I think Lowell Brown was there. I had a couple other people were there, and what we were trying to do is we were trying to do a live broadcast. We had Azriel Ratz, who's in Israel, and I was in Toronto, and we wanted to interview him. But we had a couple people physically in person, and he and Azriel is obviously he's international. So we had to pipe him in. And then so we had to pipe his video feed in. We were using Ecamm, and basically we were stringing together a whole bunch of technology, didn't know what I was doing. And we ended up going live and doing an entire hour-long interview style broadcast with two people physically in the same room. Azriel off tuning in, like coming into the feed remote, and we basically had no sound for him at all. None. And people in the comments were saying it. They're like, we can't hear him. There's no sound. There's nothing. Nothing's going on. So you could hear our audio and not his, but we were oblivious to it, and we just carried on like there's no tomorrow. Just carried on. And it was one of those things where if you could capture one interview that was like the be all and end all, that was really good. Like it was just knowledge bombs dropping everywhere, just so much good information coming out. That would be the one. That would be the single interview that I wish we had captured from start to finish. And then when we finally ended it and we went back to look at the replay, we realized, wow, Azriel had no audio. So you could hear Lowell and I chatting the whole time, and Azriel had nothing. And it was like those really long, super awkward pauses of silence where we're silent, we're listening to him talk, and we're doing that. Oh yeah. Oh, excellent. Yeah, great point. Meanwhile, the audience is like, what the heck are you doing? It was embarrassing. It's not that embarrassing in the grand scheme of things, but let me tell you, every single conference I've ever got, every conference I've ever gone to since with Azriel, he's never let me live it down, and justly so. All right. So no audio is definitely first and foremost. Let's move on to one that's more common that most of us have experienced at one point in time. A lot of us are Zoom ready. How do I say it? Like we look okay from here to here, right? Where we make ourselves look all right, but generally we're not wearing pants, or we're wearing track pants, or we're wearing, I don't know, you're still in your pajama bottoms and you just don't care. Well, those types of situations happen often where, let's say, for example, you leave the dog squeak toy out, right? This is one other example that has happened to me. This is where I learned early on. You gotta be prepared. Either put all the dog squeak toys away or wear pants. So I was on a live interview again a couple years ago. This is before I learned how to do all this stuff. And the dog grabs the squeak toy and he was just going at it. Like he was just in his squeak toy heaven, just like squeak, 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 like to the point where it was so distracting on the live. You can't ignore it. You can't get around it. You need to go and do something with it. But at that point I was on live video, much like I am right now. And I wasn't prepared. So right now I can stand up and I'm wearing something. It's okay for me to stand up. In that video, it was not okay for me to stand up. So the dog is going to town on the squeak toy and I can't do a darn thing about it. I'm just sitting there, super awkward. Like, what do you do? What are your choices? You're either going to end the live stream or you're going to go and deal with it. But I couldn't move off of the view that I had myself all set up on. And at that time, I didn't know things like how to turn off your camera, all sorts of little tricks that you can do to avoid that. It was that was the first time that I really realized pants are kind of important on a live stream. I mean, it's one thing if you're just on a Zoom with friends, but it's another thing where, yeah. So Keith is saying, I was live with 8 sports guests and my battery died, which killed the broadcast for everyone. Yeah, it sucked a bit. Yes. Oh, so I have the similar challenge with my camera that I'm live streaming with right now. So I'm on a DSLR. Like I can reach in and I can give you ooh, hi. Get the full zoom back out. So I'm on a DSLR camera. Let me put us right there. But my port is broken. So technically I should be able to plug it in and have it on continuous power. Not so much the case. I really only have a 6-hour shelf life on this because the power port doesn't work properly. So if I forget, if I've been on Zoom calls all morning and then I go live, the camera can die partway through. So that's why I've learned I have a backup camera here ready, plugged in, ready to go in case something were to happen with that, because I've learned the hard way that batteries do die. Another thing, keep those stories coming if you're catching this live. I love this, Keith and Evie. Thank you for sharing. Evie saying, rather than my good mic, uses my Mac cam. Oh, that's actually, I have this one on the list, Evie. So you mean rather than my good mic, like this one, that uses my MacBook cam, and I should sound like I'm right next to the ocean, not in a good way. So if I switch my audio right now, let me try this. I'm going to try, of course, we're going to try and break things on live. Mark's saying DSLR, good tip. Have to look into that. It's like so good. The camera quality is so much better than the other webcams. All right, let me try and switch my audio so you can see what it sounds like when I have the wrong audio input near my laptop that it has the fan going like crazy. So let's switch this and see how it goes. Let's try. Let me know what you think. How's the audio on this? Yeah, not quite the same, right? Let's switch it back. All right. Back to this mic. So that's another thing when, depending on what streaming tool you're using and the different settings that you had, I find this a lot in Ecamm, where I go and set up an Ecamm scene. And then I come back into Ecamm and try and do a live broadcast, and I change scene. Evie. I love your descriptions, Evie. It's very, you have an eloquent way of putting things. And then Mark is hi, Mark. I'm glad that you're here. Mark saying sound like the ocean. Yeah. And Jared, thanks for popping in. It's good to see you here. So yeah, when I'm switching around on different scenes in Ecamm, sometimes it defaults to like the default audio, which I'm stuck in an ocean. But luckily I have some really good live streamer friends who, like Evie, who pop on and catch my broadcast and will have my back and be like, hey, switch your mic. It's not good. So don't worry. Again, all these stories, if these things happen to you or similar, this is normal. Like it's almost like, imagine if you're like in Girl Guides or Scouts or whatever, and you have to get a bunch of badges when you've accomplished something. It's like, okay, I've earned my I wore no pants on a live stream badge. I've earned my had it on the wrong audio and sounded like I was in an airplane or an ocean for the whole thing. What else have I had? Oh yeah, losing Wi-Fi. Evie is saying constantly plug and unplug my MacBook, so default output constantly change. Exactly. So you get what I'm saying. These are simple little things, but it's just, it really is like for live streaming, having yourself like a go live checklist is helpful on, okay, is my audio set up right? Is my video set up right? Is everything set up properly? So then, all right, Wi-Fi. Here's another one. Realtors, looking at you. If you were doing a home tour and you're going live, you finally got the confidence to go live. Maybe you have a selfie stick, like a gimbal stick to hold your phone, and you're finally excited to go live. And you're wandering around going live, and you're doing the home tour, and then you want to walk out back on the deck and show the hot tub in the back or the view. So you open the sliding glass door and you wander out there, and feed cuts out. That's because you've gotten too far away from your Wi-Fi signal, and the Wi-Fi drops. And then that you can actually recover the stream. So if you go then back closer, the streams will keep live for a little bit. They'll just kind of like pause a little bit and they'll wait. And then it even does give a warning to the viewers to say, this broadcast, something along the lines of like, it's temporarily interrupted. But if you come back into the stream, come back into Wi-Fi soon enough, it'll re-pick up and it'll restart. But I don't know any normal human being who can do that and just come back on screen like, am I live? Am I back? Is it here? Can you see me? Can you hear me? And then in your head, the little mini internal dialogue freaking out. I'm like, is it still live? Is this where did it cut off? Do I pick up where I left off? So the internal dialogue and you trying to like press forward through it is not fun. And Evie saying, just need to get a mini and keep it on my desk for live streaming. So smart, because my current setup, I've got my laptop is way over there because the fan is so loud. It really does sound like a little airplane taking off. And that sound comes back into the mic. It causes feedback and it just sounds terrible. So by getting a Mac mini, you're not worrying about the cooling fan on the laptop making all that noise. Super smart. I love that. All right, what else? I've got the list of horror stories. I'm probably not going to tell all of them. Oh yeah, I have so in this current studio setup that you're seeing right here, I have a tripod on that side and a tripod on that side. And depending on what show I'm doing, I have a giant green screen. It's like a big fabric cloth, like draped over some piping. So what I do is I just change out I just lift the bar and hook it up onto the tripods and get ready to go live depending on what show I'm doing and what backdrop I need, if I need a virtual background, whatever. So for my Wednesday show, I always have my virtual background on. And behind me, you can see I have a couch. And Small Dog likes to go up on the couch, and he usually doesn't go under anything or over it. Like you could put a cord on the floor, like you could run an extension cord across the floor, and it's like it becomes lava. He cannot go over top of the cord, so you can basically box my dog in with like a rope, and he won't walk over it. But now he's getting more confidence, so I have the green screen up, and he's now decided he wants to walk under the green screen to get up onto the couch. For those of you who know Small Dog, he's got a big curly tail. Like it looks like a Dyson vacuum cleaner handle. It's a big curly tail. And his Small Dog, it's so deceiving. He's actually a big dog. He's quite tall. So think of like baby deer, okay? So yeah, he'll walk underneath the green screen and his tail will hook onto the bottom of the fabric of the green screen. He'll pull it and then start to jump and the whole thing will come down. So that's real fun while you're live streaming. These are the things you learn the hard way. And you won't wear green if using a green. Oh, yeah, that's fun. Or certain colors, certain shades of blue also pick up on the green screen. You know what else is fun? When I'm using Zoom and I have my virtual background on for the green screen, and then I go like this, where I have no green screen. The physical green screen is sitting on the floor, and then I just have the regular background and I'm talking to somebody on Zoom. But what happens is the whites of my eyes, depending on how I look, the green screen feature picks up on the whites of my eyes and makes that the green screen. So I look like I'm some type of some type of supernatural, like crazy person with the eyes lighting up. So I have to remember, if I physically take down my green screen, I gotta swap out my background to no green screen background when I'm using Zoom. Otherwise, it gets a little crazy. Yeah, and Evie, I know what's coming. You know Small Dog. You know how that goes. All right, what else have I got in there? We also have, oh yeah, the incident where the mic boom nearly killed my laptop. That was fun. So here I am, tech and things. We got the mic, we got the boom, and this is spring loaded, as you can see. So, but where? Let me. Okay, we're in. And then I had an incident. This was only like 2 weeks ago, where I had an incident where the boom finally, the attachment of where this boom attaches onto my desk, that busted. And when that busted, this thing just went flying up and went boom. And what it did is it took all the cords with it. And when it took all the cords with it, it took my laptop that's attached to all the cords and it flung it off the back of the desk. But it didn't hit the ground and come crashing down, because everything else it's got so many cords and wires plugged into this poor computer. That it suspended it, didn't hit the floor. So the computer lived, that was fine, but it nearly took down my entire set, because all my cords are all woven through all my tripod legs for the different box lights, for the ring light, for the camera. And yeah, so that was a really fun incident. So I don't recommend that one. But again, I'm telling you all, why am I telling you all of this? And why do I want to hear your stories too? I'm telling you this because these things, I don't know a single person who goes live and doesn't run into these types of hiccups. And as much as some of these might seem really small or silly or stupid, it gets in your head while you're live. So while you're live, when something goes wrong, it's really hard for you to regain composure and get right back on track and get right into the groove of where you were, what you were doing, what you're talking about. And the embarrassment can set in. One thing that I am not having going on right now, which is very interesting. Normally I get red blotchy spaces all over my chest, my neck, my face. It's a nervous system response. It's basically like what happens when you get embarrassed. You get like all flush red. Happens to me all the time. I'd say 9 times out of 10 when I'm live streaming, I get the blotches all over my face. It's just that I'm getting better at wearing makeup and I'm getting better at strategically like covering things up in certain ways when it's bothering me. And most people just don't even notice it. I see it more than other people see it, but it doesn't happen every single time, which I find really interesting. But as soon as something goes wrong, it it just goes into overdrive. And then I get into my head of like, okay, something went wrong with my technology, or I lost my signal temporarily, or my audio defaulted to the wrong input. And then I know it, it's in my head. Then I switch back and try and fix everything and try and carry on like nothing ever happened. But then the flush and the red and the blotchiness fades in, and then I see it, then that's all I see. So yeah, these things happen. It's totally normal. Again, back to like it's like having your badge of honor that, for all your different live stream flubs that you can run into. Collecting all of these different badges are like your badges of honor of like, okay, I survived that one and it was okay. Okay, this incident happened and it's still okay. And then, oh, this is a good one. So Mark is saying, I've had my voice echoing 5 different times as I have live stream feeds on my Facebook, YouTube, Restream. Thank you, Restream. And not shutting the sound off. I just laugh to hear all the echoes of myself. Makes me crazy, but I gotta laugh. That's really good. Oh, I was helping, similar to what you're saying, Mark. One of the things that happened to me yesterday, so this wasn't while we were live, we were using live streaming tools to do this. I was with a client and we were recording a video with all of our tools and inputs and everything. So basically I was like live, it wasn't live, but live studio producing. So I'm piping her into the broadcast. We're just recording, not going live only. And I'm getting her to talk, and I put my mic on mute while she's doing her thing. And then I ask her some more interview questions, and then I go quiet. I turn my mic on mute and let her talk. Well, I forgot to mute my mic on one of the stints that she was on fire. She was doing so good. And I didn't have my mic muted, so it had the whole echo thing going on the replay. And you know what? I was lucky that I caught it when I did. Well, I still had her on camera, and I apologized and said, we're going to need to take that. We're going to need to do that again, like do another take of that, because I screwed up and didn't have my mic on mute. Another heads up, by the way, if you are live streaming, these are the best. These are the best. So I don't have these in right now because I don't have any sound coming from my computer other than the fan that sounds like it is going to like lift off and take off. But these little guys here, these are just little, let me see if that will, yeah. These are just little headphones. They're little ear monitor headphones. They're clear and they sit in your ears like this, in, over, and then that just goes in behind you. And so when they're in, you can't really, like, it doesn't look like I'm wearing headphones, and they really block out, they're like earplugs. They block out so much noise. Plug that in, and then you won't have any feedback because unless you're like Mark and has everything set up with all sorts of different tech. But these little things are like $10 on Amazon. They are an absolute lifesaver. And again, the reason I'm not wearing them right this second while I'm on camera here is because I don't have a guest. I don't have any audio coming back out of my computer to pick up feedback into the microphone and cause that audio feedback loop. That audio feedback loop is like the most annoying thing. And Mark is saying, but you need the big headphones. Look, that's more serious. I have, oh, they're not within reach. I have so much technology just like scattered around my desk like Skittles right now. I've got the big Bose over ear headphones, and they've been my fave, but I just can't do it on camera. I can't. You know what else I just bought? Guys, I splurged. I bought myself a new gift because, I don't have kids. I live by myself. I'm one of those people that, every now and then I do get to spoil myself a little bit. You want to see what I got? I only have one of them on hand here. Boop. Yeah, I did it. I bought myself some Airpods because the big headphones, the big Bose headphones are pretty, they're amazing, but like audio quality and noise canceling and everything like that. But I'm finding that the convenience of these it's been well worth the price of admission. That is for sure. So yes, I spoiled myself and I'm really happy about that. All right, moving on. What else could possibly go wrong? Well, Here's a fun one. And you'll notice actually if you go look at the broadcast that I did yesterday with Jen Herman, we talked about messenger marketing chatbots that are rolling out on Instagram right now. If you don't or if you're not excited about that and you run a business, you need to stop, drop, and go and watch that video yesterday. But the reason I'm bringing your attention to that video yesterday is because right now I'm wearing makeup. Okay. Obviously, I'm wearing a lot of makeup. Um, and then yesterday I didn't put foundation on. And we're gonna get up close and personal, guys. I can't believe I'm doing this. Oh, okay, here we go. I'm gonna like zoom right in. You're gonna see my face. We're gonna be looking like at these spots here, right? Okay, we're gonna do the zoom in. I've got like cakey makeup going on, right? And zoom in, and I'll zoom back out. But I'm wearing foundation, I'm wearing makeup. And let me go right to it. There's good. Why? Well, yesterday I wasn't. Well, I had some eye makeup on, but I didn't have any like face foundation and crap on. I hate wearing it, by the way. As soon as I'm done my live streams, I go and I take it off so I can go do my dog walk and not look like I'm. But what happens is with the lights, with the lighting, without having the makeup on, it just kind of goes all shiny. And then if you have a camera like this guy here, let's talk about this. This, and again, this is like obviously this is my backup that you're not, why we don't have a video feed right now. But this camera in particular, it's like a love-hate relationship. I love it because it's reliable. It works all the time. I hate it. I heard it because it blows out your highlights and makes you look like a ghost. Like you can start the feed with your everything looking good, but then as the light changes, like as the sunlight changes as you're live streaming or whatever happens in your back, or you move the wrong way and all of a sudden the color temperature just goes oversensitive, it changes the whole color temperature. And especially if you have bright lights and you've got the face shine and everything going on, it'll just blow out your highlights and you look like a ghost. And while you're live streaming, you can't really fix it, and it's very, very frustrating. So I was experiencing that yesterday on yesterday's live stream talking to Jen Herman. I didn't have like foundation type makeup on, and it was just like blowing everything out like a ghost. I'm like, ah. And these are the little things that, again, half the people just don't even care, right? And as a live streamer, I probably shouldn't care too much either. But when it comes to the difference as you're growing and learning live streaming skills, it really is one of those things that can differentiate and make and break the difference between a broadcast that is really fun, engaging, and comfortable to watch to one that's like just something's off about it. Something's just a little off. Other things, what the heck do you do with your hair, your hands, your smile, and your face while you're live streaming? This is easy in this case because I'm chatting with you guys. By the way, if you're tuning in now, if you're jumping in and catching this now, we're talking about some of the little horror stories that happen while you're live, from the big ones to the little ones and everything in between. And I want to know your stories. We've got some of you are sharing in the comments some things that have gone wrong while you've been on live video. I'm not sharing all of this to freak you out. I'm sharing all of this to let you know you need to earn these little badges of honor of experiencing when things go wrong on live, and it happens all the time, and it's completely normal, and it gets easier. So the hair, the hands, the smile. The fake smile. We're gonna do it together. You can do it at home with me. Pretend you're on camera with me right now, and give me that smile while you're on live video, where you're not actually smiling. You're trying to actively listen, but your mind is wandering. So, for example, Small Dog is outside right now, staring at me in the window. So I can be letting the other person on live video talk. For example, if I'm in the interview. If I'm in the interview style, and then you just do this. It's the fake smile, like I'm trying to listen. I'm trying to remember to smile on camera, sit up straight, trying to, pay attention. And then I get into that, wait, what were they saying? Oh, are they going to put it back to me soon? If they put it back to me, what am I going to lead off with? What am I going to say? Oh, getting lost in the hyperloop, but trying to keep that smile on screen. It's hard, man. Your cheeks, they hurt at the end of the day from doing like the Vanna White smile. They like, I'm here, I'm present, I'm on camera. Because you don't want to be on camera and have that look be, and you're bored and tuning out while the other person is talking. Sometimes we get lost in it. I love therapy sessions we have here, right? I know. And the reason that I did this topic in particular today was I looked back on some of the live broadcasts that I've done, and the one that really stood out was when I talked about how to make your live streams more engaging. Things that you can be doing, from talking to your replay viewers when the camera first comes on, to talking to people by name. So acknowledging them, talking to the comments, saying hello, making eye contact with the camera, which is so freaking hard because you're down here, by the way. You guys are right here, but you're looking at me up here. That's learning all those little tricks. That was one of the most fun live stream sessions that I've had with you guys here. And so I figured it's why not talk about the flip side, the realities. A couple more for you here. Drop your comments in if you have any, and then we'll bring this home shortly. All right. So then there's other issues of when you're doing your screen sharing, for example. This is real fun. All right. Screen sharing. Prep your screen first, people. I mean, I almost feel like I could just say that. Just leave it there. Prep your screen first. Make sure that there is nothing not safe for work open in your tabs. Or, for example, when you go to download, we're so programmed when we download things and from our browser, we get that the little bar at the very bottom that shows our most recent downloads, and the name of some of those files can be very interesting. Especially if you've been doing client work. For example, one of the clients I work with is a romance novelist, and a lot of the content that I have to work with for her, for example, is finding racy pictures of men and women or people in different scenarios that I have to download and then Photoshop to make them somewhat more appropriate and run with that. Well, the file names and things that I'm downloading are ridiculous. And if you download those things and they're in the bottom tray of your browser, we're just programmed to not even notice it anymore. Kind of like the tabs at the top of your screen. We're just kind of programmed to not even notice them anymore. So when you're on live video and you go to share your live stream and you have that little tray at the bottom with all of the file names that you've downloaded, that's real fun. So just do a clean sweep first. Make sure that you close that bar out, close out any tabs that you shouldn't have had there. Oh, and the other embarrassing thing is I will now I'll go if I need to go to plan out your live streams and know what tabs and things you're going to be opening. Try and open them in advance, because when you jump into Google and you're like, oh, let's just navigate there together, and you jump into Google and start typing things, Google's going to autofill with some of your more recent searches or things related to your more recent searches as you start to type. So it will auto-populate some pretty interesting things while you're on live video. That's another little hack and another little trick that I've learned. It's like, oh, let's see. Oh, Snapchat filter stuck. So again, trying to, reach outside the box a little bit and trying to use different technology. You can use Snapcam. You can download Snapcam on your computer. I'm like, no, hold back, Amanda. Don't do it. I'm like, I'm going to launch Snapcam right now. I'm going to put a filter on me and I'm going to pipe it in here. I'm like, don't do that while we're live. This is where things go wrong. But Snapchat, you can download basically Snapcam on your desktop, and you can use that to create all sorts of different like Snapchat level filters on your face. That's how I made myself into a pizza. That's how I've made myself into a banana. That's how I've made myself into like a Texas Ranger, and all sorts of different things that I've done for all sorts of different live broadcasts. And it's very realistic and it's fun. But it's not fun when you're live and the filter gets stuck. Okay, so we've all seen that meme going around of the lawyer that was on with the judge and he was a cat, right? And he couldn't get the filter off. Sometimes that's just your lack of knowing how to use the technology, but there's actual times where all of this tech, when you're stacking your tech on a computer that can't handle it, for example, broadcasting with Restream right now, I'm broadcasting in browser. If I had Snapcam open as well, that's drawing a huge amount of power from my computer, a lot of processing from the computer. And if I had Ecamm open as well, and if I also had Chrome and Gmail, and if I had a whole bunch of other programs open and running in the background, it can just cause this cataclysmic problem where things like Snapcam won't let you turn the filter off anymore. and it won't let you switch off the scene. So you basically get stuck as a banana, for example. That's fun. This is a really good question, Mark. I'm glad you're asking. Do you use a green screen with Restream? I don't. So it doesn't have the green screen feature right out of the gate right now, but one thing I do use is I use Ecamm as a virtual cam. So I have a program called Ecamm. I'm on a Mac. If you're on a PC, you can't use that, but there are other programs that you can use to use a green screen and have that feed come in, and then you just make that your camera here. So you can use a green screen with Ecamm, or sorry, with Restream. But one of the challenges I have is my computer is a little on the slow side, so it can slow down the feed, especially with the tech stack. So I've learned the hard way over time to just go through all the tech, when I say tech stack, go through all the programs and things that I have open and really start whittling down that list of like, does this have to be open right now? Do I have to use this piece of technology? How can I simplify it? Because people like myself, I know there's a lot of other people watching right now that like to geek out on all the different tech and all the gear, and they want all the best and latest and greatest gear. Well, guess what? For every piece of gear you're buying, every piece of gear you're plugging in, every little piece of software you have on the go at the same time, you are overcomplicating your live streams. It's cool when it all works, great, but 9 times out of 10, you're walking yourself straight smack dab into the path of tech is going to break, things are going to go wrong, inputs are going to get confused, the computer's going to get overloaded, you're going to switch into the wrong thing, whatever. It's all going to happen. It's legitimately going to happen. The more tech items you daisy chain into your workflow, the more problems you're going to have. For example, yesterday on yesterday's broadcast where I had Jen Herman on, and again, recap, we were talking about Messenger bots coming to Instagram, which is a big deal. If you don't know that's happening, go back and watch that broadcast. That was awesome. But just getting her on that broadcast, bringing her in as a separate feed, getting the right overlays coming in, getting my camera to pipe in through the right camera feed, getting my audio to come in the right way, getting her audio to come in the right way, getting the scene switching to happen in the right way, getting it programmed into Stream Deck. Like, these are things that it doesn't have to be that complicated. But because I like tech, I like live streaming, I like pushing the boundaries on these things and stacking my deck as hard, like as complicated as I can, so I can learn where things break, so I can help other people when they do break. It doesn't have to be this complicated. So just caution. I caution you with that, where you can get yourself stuck in these hyper loops of trying to chase the tech, and you can really just bring it back down to bare bones simple and just go live right from your phone. And if you do go live on Facebook, for example, Facebook's live stream, or what is it, the live studio, has come a long way. There are so many features getting jam-packed inside Facebook's broadcast studio that it's worth paying attention to on the different features, especially if you're in the States. I'm not right now, so I don't have access to things like shopping features, live shopping. Oh, I can't wait to get that. It's going to be so good. And that's going to be another tool that I'm going to try and use and break and tech stack and do all the things that I can. Anyway, I'm not going to go over the rest of my list. It's long, it's lengthy. There are lots of other embarrassing things on this list, but I think overall you're getting the point that live streaming is reality. I mean, you're a real human, you're a real person. You're not flawless. We are all flawed, and we are perfectly flawed in the ways that we are, and things are going to go wrong, and it's going to be okay. And if you are letting any of those things hold you back from sitting here and clicking that go live button, I just want to like squeeze you and encourage you, like, no, we can do this. You can get over this. Get over those little hurdles. Get over the tech hurdles. Get over the self-confident hurdles. Get over the I don't know what to say hurdles. You got this. Things are going to go wrong. You are going to recover from it. It's not the end of the world. And that's how you learn. You basically, so when I used to run a water ski and wakeboard school, I used to teach kids how to ski and wakeboard. And I loved it. It was amazing. But I always had a saying, if you're not falling, you're not trying hard enough. So there are these kids that would get out on the skis and, their first time, and they'd be so nervous and so excited. And then they get up on the skis and they're so excited. But then they just kind of stay doing exactly what they're doing, and they don't want to try and go outside the wake at all. They don't want to do anything. They just freeze like a little statue. They're like, I don't want to do anything. It's working. That's it. Great. But the next time you go out, the next time, if you're not actually falling, you're afraid of falling because that tells you you're doing something wrong or you didn't do something right. But guess what? If you're not falling, you're not trying hard enough, because falling is how we learn. That's how we grow. That's how we get better. So all of these issues that happen to you while you're live streaming, that's you falling and you getting better. And you can't get from 0 to 100 if you're not putting the effort in and putting the time in and trying. So with that, I really encourage you. There are things you can do to make it easier for yourself, like for example, signing up for a Restream account, using Restream's live broadcast studio, such as I am right here, right now, where I can do things like bring up captions, beautiful titles, captions, logos, overlays, everything. It's so easy. So I do encourage you, head on over to thedigitalgal.com/restream to go and get yourself a Restream account. Let me put this in here, the digitalgal/restream, dropping that in the comments. Another feature you can do right here in Restream. But you can start using tools like this to make it easier on yourself to get started with live streaming, and it doesn't have to be so hard. And these problems are going to happen, and it's perfectly okay. None of us have ever gone through live streaming from starting our first live streams to getting to the point where we've done, hundreds of hours on camera without all of these things going wrong. So it's like it's almost like live stream bingo. All the things that that could go wrong can go wrong. You're like, check that one off the list. Okay, I've now had that happen to me. We're good. And Mark is asking, can you go over overlays and how to embed video into that sometime? Yes, absolutely I can. Maybe I can push that into next week's episode. So show you actually I do have a full episode from earlier on exactly how to go and create those overlays, whether you're using Canva or Easel or any of those other third-party creative tools on how to make PNG files, bring them in as overlays. For example, like let's go things like these are different overlays that I've had in from other shows. And then there's other video files that you can bring in. And for example, let's look at the little logo up at the top. I can swap out my little logo. All sorts of fun things that you can do. So I can show you, I can do another recap on how to make that happen. All right, everybody. With that, this has been another good live streaming therapy session with the Digital Gal. I really do appreciate that, Mark. All right. I want you to go forth. I want you to go and get yourself a Restream account. Go into the Restream broadcast studio. It's browser-based, and I want you to go and try it out. If you've never gone live before, I'm encouraging you to go ahead and do that. If you have gone live before, I'm encouraging you to push yourself outside of that comfort zone. If you're not falling, you're not trying hard enough. Falling is all part of the process. So if you haven't had anything go wrong, it's going to, and it's perfectly okay. Okay, everybody. With that, I am Amanda Robinson. I am the Digital Gal, and this is the Video Marketing Show. I'm going to close this out here. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in.